Alright, Shalom. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Kakodash. Double honor to my bishops, apostles, and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom, salutations to the brothers out there pushing the word, sincerity, and truth. Throughout the four corners of the earth, delivering the message to the elect out there to run the rest of salvation. And Shalom, salutations to the elect. The ones that have the true, sincere faith of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, would consist of the men, women, and children. And also to the speckled birds, the ones that do not look like your average Negro, Latino, or Native American, but the ones that have the spiritual ear to hear, the ones that's looking to earn the wings of salvation, to flee the hour of temptation. I'm the brother Mouth out of the DC church. And, basically, I've been meditating on this topic for a while. If you're a spiritual individual, you see what's going on in Israel. Like, we all catching how, as we get closer and closer to the end of the society, the laws get weirder. A lot of more weird things are gonna happen. Ain't for nothing that we're not. It's like it felt like this year went by extremely fast. Passover, with Day of Atonement is coming up, things to start to speed up around the holidays, and we know that Lord's will, man, something happens to where, we hasten the day of Yahweh is coming. I know I just thought about how, the algorithm had said some things about me, so we just try to keep things spiritual. So basically, this whole thing is to basically bring out as far as like we're all accomplishing the same thing, right? So this is First Peter 5 and 9. Well, I'll start at 7. It says, let me start at 6. It says, humble thyself, therefore, under the mighty hand of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that he may exalt you in due time. So that's what we're looking to be, get exalted, and basically so we can be increasing the end times. We know there's an award, so we're doing this for that award. You wouldn't have started this thing or being able to have the courage to continue if you didn't think you was going to win a reward. Right? I'm just saying that through the spirit because I thought about that a few times. And one particular time on a train, after camp, man, for some, with me in particular, I feel exalted. I feel like electrified. And I was just thinking that, man, on the way home, getting on the train, like, man, you wouldn't have started that. And then it was, what was crazy? A brother happened to say that. And I was just like, see, a lot of the times it's just basically you're filtering your thoughts through the scriptures and, bring it out in faith, and you'll be corrected if they, up to the standards of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It says, cast all your cares upon him, for he cared for you. So we understand, like, a lot of the times we have a heavy heart, been praying, been fasting, doing what you need to do to please the Lord, and there still happen to be like a heavy cloud over you. A lot of times, we know we are strong individuals. We study to show ourselves approved, and we do the things to please the Lord. But sometimes it just happens to be, the Lord got you going through a period to where, maybe you have a loved one that passed. Maybe your loved ones or one of your loved ones have organ failures throughout the body or something like that, or cancer, dementia. That could be really hard to deal with, because as they lose their mind, they get angry and more aggressive. So, anger is not made for man. So we know the scriptures talk about how, like, basically, be patient with your father when, you're going through tough times, roughly paraphrasing. To honor the mother too. So, you got to do the same thing for both. The scriptures, gives us enough for us to extrapolate, right? Because it says honor thy mother and thy father. So you got to be patient with your dad. You got to be patient with your moms too. I was trying to think about one in particular to compare it to. Because the scripture says a woman that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. Same thing for a man. You can't, the scriptures talk about a man that's basically always going to the winery is basically you broke. Same thing with the harlots. If you're going to see, we all know that's a slippery slope, and it just turns nothing into a big snowball effect to where, it's easy to slip when you got the wine, going with the women, and, you're just on the phone, and you don't even know an hour passed. So that's why the scriptures in Psalms the 19th chapter, it says, Psalms 19, 4 and it says, I'm start at Verse 12, it says, who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then shall I be upright, and I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Let the words of thy mouth and the meditation of my heart, Salaki, it says, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in the sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. And that's the thing, man. We want to, our meditation and our lips, because we know what we meditate on, what we think, eventually comes out. And it's not what's in your mind that defiles you, it's what comes out of you that defiles you. Never forget, you can always repent, turn back, and cleanse your way. But just going back to, like, sometimes when you got that wine and you're chasing the women, you could have some faults in you, and that comes with demons, or spirits at least, and you be wondering why things is messing with you, and it's just like, a lot of the times it's just staying out of the world. It says be users of the world, but not abusers. And a lot of times when you're in the flesh, it numbs your spirituality and your spiritual awareness as far as using wisdom. And even though you think you're using wisdom, in all reality, you're under like a spiritual hypnosis, for the lack of better words, right? And, I got that. Let me get this real quick. And it's basically, also this is another video to not only put forth that we're all going through the same troubles. Even if you're not going through similar troubles, we all catching hell, right? And I got to give it to my ex-demon, because she had said, what's life without a scare? So if we didn't catch this hell, we wouldn't appreciate this truth as much. I know, the elders and brothers already said that, but it makes so much sense, because you think about work and how sometimes during certain jobs that we do have, they wind up asking for more, but they keep the same pay. Or sometimes they'll reduce the pay, and then you have some individuals that will quit because they were comfortable. They're beautiful. They were comfortable in a certain position, and now that they're asking for more for less pay, or even the same amount of pay, they're asking for more. They will quit because they feel entitled. And that's and that was crazy. Right? I was thinking about this while handling my BI. That that's a lot of women in today's society. They are totally numb and blind because of the comfortability that's been given to them. They take a lot of things for granted. So that's why when things are gonna be stripped from them, and there's gonna be way more stuff stripped from them than us. A man don't need as much to be satisfied. I put that, because it's like, the flesh can never be satisfied. Not here in America. The flesh is always going to want more. So that's why we understand that there's times that, you got to deny yourself. And there's no reason why the Spirit had it to where we went over in class, fasting, denying yourself. One of the first things it talked about, what brothers looked it up on ChatGPT, I ain't do it, but it talked about basically like not eating, and if you can control what's going in your mouth, you can control a lot of other things too, what you watch, because we understand that what you consume eventually is going to, develop something inside you and grow, and then you're going to bring it out. So that's why it's good to try to stay up for social media. And if you are a social media research the words or whatever, make it educational and not just entertainment, because entertainment is just there to distract you. We understand a lot of the distractions sways us off from the constant pursuit of pleasing Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, so we can be in good graces, have that connection so we can be protected. But yeah, basically, I'm not sure if I read this already, but this is 1 Peter 5:9. It says, "But resist him, be firm in the faith against his attack, rooted, established, unmovable, knowing that the same experience of suffering are being experienced by your brothers and sisters throughout the world. You do not suffer alone." We don't suffer alone, man. know, you're not all alone. You know, a lot of the times, it's crazy, right? The Lord puts forth a lot of the things in front of us, and it's up to us to really, like, you know, be spiritually aware that the Lord is not just doing that for no reason. Pick that up and take it, you know, and cultivate that seed, like, meaning plant that seed. Once that seed is planted, water that and take care of that plant, because the Lord just doesn't do anything for no reason, you know. And it's like, we know that, but then when you know, you gotta, it's through the Spirit, but you have to face hardship in order for you to grow. Like pressure break. 1 second. Pressure, of course, it breaks pipes, but then without pressure, without vigorous training, you will never grow. Imagine you live the same, right? You do the same routine over and over again, do the same workout, eat the same food over and over again. Eventually, you know, you'll stop growing. So the Lord has to throw something in your routine, your repertoire, in order for you to adjust and then accept. Ooh, man, acceptance is probably the hardest thing, and it's truth, man. Acceptance, and like I told myself, there's no way you can unlearn, but you have to replace it. You have to replace your hardship with work. That's the only way it's gonna work. Only way it's gonna work, man. Your depression, sadness, anger, it don't go away without work. And demons don't go away. They just transform into something else for to challenge you once again, you know. And this is I hate people. Oh, you're on the phone, but you're not even texting, yeah. You know, you won't. It would be hard, you know, for you if you only seeing things one way. So that's why we're a body, so you can see things multiple ways. That's why it's beautiful to get counsel. And then as long as you don't buck up against the counsel, you'll be all right. Lord's will, you know. Lord's will. But it's all about being positive and staying positive. I looked up that word amends because I was telling myself, like, you know, a lot of times, like, we're going back to that, like, if, you know, there might be someone, a loved one, you know, somebody you care about, you know, like, once again, we in this flesh, you know. But being able to just accept that, you know, things are going to be fucked up. They ain't no, yeah, like this bull crap, man. Like, you just get on the highway, merge. Nobody gets over. It's just like, let's just all pile up on each other. But yeah, that's another reason why the society is going down. That everybody's blind to the fact that this place needs help. And that's why it's beautiful to have this truth, this knowledge, and this understanding that we could bring forth the comfort and exhort. I don't know why. I know, but shit. Nah, somebody honked their horn at me and whatnot, but it's like, women should not drive, period. But yeah, you know, just getting back to it, man, you know, we're here to exhort, comfort, and guide, you know, through the Ruach HaKodesh, the people that are suffering, man. Who shall we teach knowledge to? Them that are drawn from the Salaki. That's them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, roughly paraphrasing. But we understand that it's never gonna stop, bro. Sister, it's never gonna stop. The only way for you to get comfort is to accept and work a little harder as far as being out of your comfort zone. That's the only way. And I keep telling myself to romanticize the pain and the vigorous work that it takes to be a champion or a winner, you know? Because, of course, there's a lot of times you don't feel like getting up to go work out. A lot of times you don't feel like going, you know, you don't feel like doing shit. But the more you don't do shit, the weaker you get. You know, I have a dad right now, and he's not doing so well. And I just seen a lady around his age, and I can clearly see she not, you know, basically, if you don't start exercising, she's about to turn 70, and everything just going to start to take away from her. You know, and like I just mentioned, I didn't tell her about my dad because I was thinking about him. Thinking about him when I was talking to one of the my clients, and I was just like, yeah, to start working out, because they say after like 70, everything just starts to go downhill. So like us, that's what, in our 30s and up, don't consider it as downhill. Of course, things will be a lot harder for you to gain muscle and things of that nature. Things won't recover as fast as it used to, but don't give up. It's all about the push. It's beautiful. I had this talk with Zaquan, Elder Pashai and whatnot, and he was talking about mentality, you know, and it's like a lot of times we won't be able to teach individuals mentality because one, they don't admire or they're not inspired by, you know, our character and whatnot, but we could reach some, you know, because it's crazy, right? Like, I'll leave that alone. I was just saying, like, you know, there's certain brothers that you connect more with and they understand you more, so you don't have to explain as much because they understand you, or they know you, you know. But some brothers, you know, it's very difficult, and no matter what you say or do, it just won't get as through as others, man. And it's just what it is. There's nothing we can fight against. It's just reality. That's why sometimes what the scriptures talk about, damn, it's kind of all over the place now. But this is another hardship, man. The scriptures talk about how Matthew the 5th chapter. Like you can't go to the altar unless you reconcile with your brother. So if you can't reconcile with your brother and you try to give a gift towards the Lord, you're like, nah, man, you can't do that, because the scriptures talk about how you could love somebody that you don't see, but you can't even love the one that you can see. So, and I told myself I really wanted to meditate. I'm gonna come back and watch this video because I really wanted to meditate on some of this stuff, because there's a lot deep. There's like, you know, the scriptures talk about how the Lord's wisdom or knowledge is unsearchable. You know, and it's like that's something that we're always chasing. So that's why our mission will never be accomplished, because we're always looking to please the Heavenly Father and His Son. And then through our sufferings, man, the Lord is made. He's blessed. I mean, he's because it talks about He was pleased. Oh man, through the Yahweh was pleased through the sufferings of Yahweh Shai. You know, it's like this is my son. You know, basically that I'm well pleased with. You know, so we want to be as sons and daughters towards Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. We want to be well. You know, be ones that's well pleased. Even, you know, like, don't judge us for our bad, but judge us for our good. Because when we do good, we do great, and that's all we want to be, is be great. You know, but sometimes we understand through the Spirit that we're not able to do good. You know, we so knee deep in calamity. It's just do good, and you'll be all right. You know, sometimes you're not able to be great, so just be good. You'll be all right. Lord's will. You know, pray, fast, and continue to fight. Sometimes your fight is not as strong as the last week or the 2 weeks ago. But as long as you keep fighting, that's a beautiful thing. The courage to continue. Just don't turn back weakly towards the Lord, speaking bad about His men. You know, this gospel, this ministry, man, it does so much for people. You know, people that had left too, right? Think about. I told you know, it's crazy. Man, damn, I hate this traffic shit. I was thinking about this nigga, Sharpar, that he left. You know, cool dude, didn't say much, just cool and shit. He got into an incident, the Lord jacked him up, and he's handshaking, something happened. But I told myself after him, man, don't get too close to no goddamn body, man. You know, like, we didn't, Salaki, the brothers gave him rides and shit like that. We building up a relationship with the dude, and dude just left. Like, damn, bro, fuck that shit, yo, fuck that, yo. I understand that, like, that's impossible not to get a liking towards an individual. It just happens. You don't mean to do it, but it just happens. But, you know, I pray and hope that she was edified, motivated in the spirit to seek the Lord 10 times more. And most importantly, that's one of the most important ones, but just being exalted, you know, not to be esteem yourself more than what you are, but more so to, you know, don't be in the gutter all day. Oh, one way I get myself out of the gutter is think about prophecy. A lot of these people are going to be, you know, deleted. And then I think about how in 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter, it talks about how them which are asleep basically shall come back and have the first dibs on man, I hate when this happens. Basically have on payback, you know, for the lack of better words, man. You know, they'd be the first ones to get payback on this place, you know. So We understand that. So that should brighten your day. And the more I vividly imagine that, the less the burden is taken off of me as far as like completing a task or a certain mission and whatnot. It's all about just constantly fighting towards your salvation. You gotta love people like this shit, man. Oh, you got mad room. But with that, like I said, I hope and pray that you was really motivated in the spirit to seek the Lord 10 times more. He's getting ready to take away His word from this foul place. All praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. Double honors to my bishops, apostles, the elders, great millstone. Shalom to the brothers out there. Personal words, sincerity, and truth. And shalom to you.